This episode of Rookie Hunter is proudly brought to you by the Wild Sheep Foundation. Become a member, renew your membership, and join the Less Than One Club at wildsheepfoundation.org. And make sure to check out Sheep Fever, the official podcast of the Wild Sheep Foundation. Do your part to put and keep wild sheep on the mountain. Hey guys, welcome to episode 160 of Rookie Hunter. It's been a little while, but it's good to be back. Give you an update why it's been a little while, but sorry for the allergies, guys. I sound all stuffed up and kind of gross, but it's been too long and I needed to get you guys an episode, so here you go. I wanted to remind you guys that you still have a little bit of time to get your name in the hat for the Northwest Territories caribou hunt, trip of a lifetime, with the Wild Sheep Foundation. To get your name in the draw for this hunt is $60. And the best part is that if you're not currently a Wild Sheep Foundation member, they're going to give you a free 1-year membership with your entry, which is a $45 value. So this is a really great way to get your name in the hat and a membership to the Wild Sheep Foundation. We would love it if you guys joined. They do incredible work. There's incredible people working there, and they are our title sponsor for a reason, because we believe in all of the work that they're doing. So I will put a link in the show notes, or you can head over to wildsheepfoundation.org to get your name in the hat for this incredible hunt. Hold on, here's a few more details. It's a 6-day rifle hunt starting September 28th to October 4th. Your outfitter is Stan Stevens with Mackenzie Mountain Outfitters. So do it, guys. Get your name in the hat and get yourself a membership to the Wild Sheep Foundation. But let's get into it. Sit back, relax, crack an ice-cold beer, and enjoy episode 160 of Rookie Hunter. All right, little update. It's been a while since I jumped on the mic. So the last time we got on here was Kelly and I don't know if you remember or not, but I was heading down to Washington to go see the Red Hot Chili Peppers at the Gorge Amphitheater. It was awesome. Had a great time. When I came back, I had COVID, and I've never had COVID, believe it or not, over the 4 years. I managed to avoid it. I thought I escaped it. I thought I would never have to say that word again. But it got me, and it kicked the shit out of me, man. I was down and out for a couple of weeks there. And my smell just came back like a week ago. And it was a wild ride. I didn't know the extent of it. And I see why people didn't really enjoy that too much. I still sound like I'm stuffed up. That has nothing to do with COVID. It's seasonal allergies, which, if anybody out there has them, you'll know how fun that is. But anyways, I'm alive. I've been doing a fair bit of hunting. I'm going to give you guys an update on all that stuff because I've been having a good time out there. Wanted to start by playing a clip here. And some of you guys may have seen this already. It's a clip on Instagram from William Shatner. I think everybody knows who that is. So I'm just going to go ahead and play it for you.
You know, for almost a century, I've been a kind, decent Canadian. It's the Canadian way. But when I see what open net salmon farming is doing to the environment and wildlife, I just can't be Canadian about it any longer. So, repeat after me. Off! Open net pen salmon farms! Your salmon farms are up our wild salmon population. It's a state on our nation. Now you have a go.
Get sideways, you open net.
Yes!
Get bent, you sacks.
Ooh!
Open net salmon farms.
Now you got it, baby.
Open pen farms should really reconsider their practices.
What the Kirk McLean? Come on, man, you're a hockey player.
Sorry, your unnatural practices suck.
That's great.
Est-ce que c'est Sacrez-votre du Canada avec vos de saumon de
Well, that sounded mean as hell, I think. Hear that, f***ers? Yeah, f***ing go Canada!
So yeah, there was some text there at the end, and as far as I've researched here, the plan is to remove open net salmon farming, fish farming in general, from the coastal waters of British Columbia by 2029, and activists are calling to have them removed within the next year or two, I think is what the plan is there. So admittedly, I don't know. I haven't done a ton of research on the pros and cons of open net fish farming, but my general consensus is that it's not great. And the way I was kind of looking at it is the way we look at domestic sheep versus wild sheep in the transmission of MOVI. We've talked about that at length. Everybody knows what that is. I think that's generally one of the main issues with open net fish farming is the potential for disease and lice transmission from farmed fish to the wild fish stocks. So yeah, not good. And I feel like anytime we mess around with nature, if it's, introducing non-native species and so on, we often make a fucking mess of everything. So history kind of keeps repeating itself in that sense. But fish farming, on the other hand, can feed a lot of people. When I see farmed fish, let's say at Costco next to the wild fish, there's a very noticeable difference. It looks rather disgusting. In my opinion, it's very pale and doesn't have that, vibrant red color of wild salmon. So it visually just does not look good to me. The other side of it too is, and I think this is where things get complicated, is there's money involved and there's employment. And I think there's something like 740 fish farms in British Columbia. So that means, it's a large industry that's making significant amounts of money and employing a lot of people. So it gets complicated. And I always try and look at both sides of the argument, and I will look further into this. But before hitting record on this podcast, I just wanted to watch some news clips and stuff and see if I could get a better sense of, the good and the bad. And so I watched a clip with a fish farmer, and the news anchor was asking him questions about disease transmission and sort of the negative aspects of fish farming. And he was just dodging all of those questions. So to me, that means, they're aware that fish farming has negative effects on our wild fish populations. So that guy just didn't do a great job of spreading the message of fish farming. Anyways, I'm going to do some more research into it. I thought the video was funny. It's William Shatner. Of course, you can't just watch a video on Instagram and believe everything you're seeing, but I will do more research. If you guys want to chime in on it, though, info@therookihunter.com is our email address. Send us an email. Send us your opinions. Anybody work on a fish farm? Anybody know more about it? Would love to hear from you guys. So write in. One update I wanted to give you. So a few episodes back, I had my friend Kelly Veltri on the podcast. Him and I go way back to high school, and him and I both work in the film industry. Spend a lot of time together. So him and I went out for the backpack bear hunt. That was his first time backpacking and first time bear hunting. He had his firearms license, and hadn't yet done his core, but he did it last night and he passed 95%. Good job. And so he's going to mail everything out today. And him and Kelly Mulder are heading out this afternoon for what's probably going to be the final spring black bear hunt of the season. There's a chance I'll get out on Saturday, but I'm kind of tied up for Sunday. and Sunday's going to be the last day. So no luck for me yet, but I've been having an amazing time out there trying to make it happen. Not for a lack of effort to get a spring bear, but I thought I would sort of cover what I've been doing. So most of you guys know, I think if you said, Mike, what's the ultimate spring black bear hunt look like for you? I'm going to say backpack. I want to do a backpack hunt. That's the type of hunting I like. But when I talked to Yonki, again, a couple episodes back there, he was saying, you get 2 tags. So like try a couple of different styles of hunting, or don't focus so much on, finding the biggest bear in the country. Obviously you don't want to shoot something small either, but try a different style of hunting. Don't be too selective, but do it knowing that you're going to help other species like moose, deer, elk, goats, sheep. Interestingly, so our local news thing here, one of them is called Castanet, and they published 2 articles this spring about black bears eating fawns, and people were actually capturing these events on their security cameras. So there was a bear in someone's backyard with 2 cubs, and she was out there grabbing a fawn right from their backyard. It's all caught on camera. And there was another video. I think someone just captured it on their phone. Same thing, another bear chasing after a fawn. And so it was interesting to read the comments because, as we've said before here, a lot of people are unaware that black bears will eat fawns. I don't know. It's really interesting to me that a lot of people think, oh, they just eat berries, and they're opportunists and they're going to eat anything. So they'll eat grubs and stuff underneath the rocks. They obviously will eat berries. I'm sure they eat roots, the fish, and fawns, as it turns out. So it was kind of a nice thing to see in the news. I mean, not that bears were eating fawns, but just as a way to sort of inform people that, oh, that's interesting. Black bears will eat more than just berries. So I think it kind of helps us as hunters to let people know why we do it and how it can help other species as a management tool. And anyways, kind of went down a left-hand turn there on that one, but that's kind of what I had in mind this year. And I did do some backpack hunts, as you heard about. I didn't have any luck, and those were sort of in the first half of spring. And I don't know, man, it's we were talking to some guys at the range, and everyone was saying, yeah, it's kind of been a weird spring. Nobody's really seeing much for bears, which, doesn't mean they're not out there. I was seeing sign and such, but just wasn't able to find a bear backpacking anyways. So, the reason for spring bear, for me anyways, it's just an excuse to get out, to do some camping, to do some hiking, to see some cool stuff. And I accomplished all of the above and had an amazing time. I did a lot of trail running too, to just scout some areas for bear. So all in all, it's been good. But I decided to, get up in the higher elevations. I've been hunting a little bit lower in the valley here. And I don't know, I just couldn't seem to make anything happen. And the weather's been very odd. We've had really, really hot heat waves, and we've had lots and lots of rain and cooler temps and even some snow on the mountaintops around here. So it's really been all over the map, and I'm sure that has an effect on it. But I thought, okay, I'm going to try some FSR, some Forest Service Road style hunts, which, as you know, aren't my favorite thing to do. But I just really wanted to make this bear thing happen. And I knew this was an area that could probably use a little bit of bear management. And I sort of proved that to myself by spending some time up there. I don't know what elevation it is, but it's, it's up there. It was hot and green down here, and there was still some snow up there. Actually, probably going back a month now. we were still getting snowstorms and stuff up there. So saw some cool weather. Forest service roads, areas that are managed by forestry, they just don't really inspire me like a protected area or a park would. And I don't know what it is. It doesn't have that like natural feel. You've got these trees that are planted so close that there's no undergrowth. You can't see through them. They're just thick and dark and they just I don't know. It doesn't really like check that box for me. And the other part of it is in a lot of those Forest Service areas, there's not a lot of hiking opportunities, and that's what I want to do. So when I go out and just drive and drive and drive, I come back and I feel like, yeah, I saw some animals and stuff, but I don't feel like I accomplished anything. I want to come back. I want to feel like I got some exercise and some fresh air, and I don't get that from cruising Forest Service roads and cuts. So what I decided to do was to make this work and make myself enjoy it. So any day that I would go hit Forest Service roads, luckily with bears, I wouldn't leave Kelowna until like 2, 3, sometimes 4:30 in the afternoon. So I still had time to get some work done. And the important part was I would go for a long trail run, anywhere from 5 to 10 kilometers. So I got my exercise. I felt good about sitting in the car, and I headed out there. So it was actually, I don't know what it is. The city here is so busy lately. It's kind of starting to get to me, if I'm being honest. So for me to spend a good full day working on my computer, get out for a run, and then get the hell out of town and just go cruise some Forest Service roads felt really good, actually. It was a nice way to clear my head, to get away from, the city, and to just be out there and observe. And the cool thing is, in all of the different spots that I went, the amount of moose that I've been seeing, I lost count. Every time I would go, I would see at least 3 moose, which was incredible, man. And they're just so fun to watch. So, that's one of those boxes I always want to check, is like, you want to see wildlife, right? It's never the thing that you're looking for, but it just, it feels good to see wildlife and observe them through your binos. And so that box kept getting checked over and over and over again. The other thing that was cool was obviously just exploring new areas, getting a sense of if I would go back there in the fall or not. Maybe there's some hiking trails that I could check out. Maybe there's some old roads that, I can hike, because that's something, like I said, that's important to me. And I started finding cool stuff. But to rewind a little bit, the first area I started going up to in the early spring, so we're going back a couple months now. The first few times I went up, I was hitting snow, and my snow tires were already off of my vehicle, so I was somewhat limited to what I could do. And there wasn't even a lot of green up there at that point, which is always surprising when you're down in the valley and everything is, starting to look like spring and summer. And you go up there and it looks like spring hasn't even started. So there wasn't initially a lot of bear sign up there, but it just felt like bear country. So I kept going back, a couple times a week and checking things out. And it's fun to watch things progress. And as more and more things started to green up, I started to see a little bit bear sign, just a little bit. I'd see a little bit of scat, and then I'd come back and I would see even more. So I'm like, man, there's definitely bears in the area. So I kept returning and coming back and trying new areas. So there's probably 5 different areas that I found sign in. And so I've just been checking those out and coming back and observing and feeling like every time I would go, I was getting a little bit closer and closer and closer to finding a bear. So I did eventually find one, but it was too small. But it kind of feels like mission accomplished to some degree, because you've been going to these areas, doing the work, and you found what you were looking for. But anyways, it didn't take long to see this thing was probably 80 yards away or something like that. And it was very clear that it was a young black bear. So I just watched it and let it go on its way. And that was that. So that's more or less the extent of it. Like I said, I've managed to find a way to enjoy cruising Forest Service roads, and I would incorporate hiking. I would get to, a certain point on the road. Some of these roads are sort of, becoming decommissioned and unused. So I would get as far as I could without scratching the shit out of my new vehicle. And I'd park and I'd hike and hopefully find a good cut to hang out in. Some burn areas. There's lots of those now. And did things that way. But as I said, we've got one more chance here today. We're going out this afternoon. This is Friday, the 28th. I'm recording this it's 7 o'clock in the morning here. And I'm going to hope for the best. It's going to be one of those right down to the buzzer type of hunts. You never know. It could happen. Either way, I'm looking forward to going out with Molnar and Veltri and enjoying this last spring bear hunt with those two guys. Going to bring some food up there and make the most of it. So looking forward to it. Somebody reached out on Instagram, I think it was Josh, and was asking if there's any new equipment that I've been using. And I don't know if I brought this up. I probably did, but footwear is one of those things, man. It's like backpacks and stuff. There's not one for every type of, activity that you're doing. So, I mean, I've got road running shoes, I've got trail running shoes, I've got my hunting boots, but I didn't have like an in-between hiking boot that I could use for hunting as well. And the thing I find with some hunting boots is that they're quite big and they're quite bulky. And I mean, they're built that way for a reason, because most of, the use we get out of them is in the fall when you're dealing with all kinds of conditions, be it rain or snow or whatever it might be. But living in the Okanagan, which is a desert, I always felt like my boots were overkill and that they were slowing me down and just too heavy and too hot. So I had been looking around trying to find the right boot, and what I picked was actually a boot from On. I don't know if you've seen them. Kind of a weird little logo. It almost looks like a Q and an upside down U. They're Swiss boots. I have a pair for trail or for road running that I really liked, but the boots I got are called Cloud Rock 2, and they're waterproof. I doubt that they're that waterproof, but again, we don't get a ton of rain here. So I bought these because they're super light and they've been a bit of a game changer for me. And this is what I'm going to use. I've been using it for all my bear hunting, but definitely going to use these in the early fall hunts. And they're just like so light that you don't even feel like you're wearing them. You feel like you could actually run in them if you needed to. And, without all that weight and waterproofing that you get with a good hunting boot, they're just very breathable. And like I said, bit of a game changer for me and exactly what I've been looking for. If you need a little bit of extra protection, you can obviously put gaiters on and stuff like that. So I don't think these will be great in like very, very, very wet conditions or wet snow or anything like that. But for the majority of hunting that we'll be doing in the Okanagan, these are going to be a great boot. And man, it feels so good to have a light boot. I've been using those Irish Setter elk trackers is what they're called. And those are made by Red Wing. So they've been awesome boots, but goddamn, they're fucking heavy. So yeah, if you're looking for a light boot, if you live in similar conditions to what I live in, I would definitely check them out. The break-in period on those was kind of long. I kind of hated them at first, but knew I needed to break them in, and they feel great now. So it just took a little extra effort. I think I touched on this too, but I'll say it again, and bear with me here. I'm going to go into my Amazon account and find the exact model that I have. But for anybody who's got a pointer or any kind of scent hound, I've been using this radio collar with my dog Earl, he's a Weimaraner, and it's been really good. So here it is. It is the Busnik, BOUSNIC. So it is a remote collar. It's got a pretty good range on it. It's waterproof, so if your dog wants to swim and stuff like that, it's not a problem. They can go in the water. And it has 3 different settings. So it's got a beep setting, it's got a vibrate, and it has a shock setting on it as well. He actually had a bark collar that he used, so he was already sort of familiar with the beep and the vibrate because that's all that collar would do. And it actually worked really good for him with a dog that is like, they're prone to separation anxiety. He's been really good. Actually, it hasn't been much of an issue. But that was the reason for getting that, was just if I was leaving home, I didn't want him to get anxious and cry and bark and that kind of stuff. And that worked really well from my previous Weimaraner who had pretty intense separation anxiety. Just snapped him out of that mode of anxiety and getting upset. So anyways, he was already familiar with the beep and the vibrate, so that was good. So the shock setting I don't use unless it's an emergency. He never he's out of sight a lot when we're trail running, and full disclaimer, if we're hunting deer, he's on leash. With black bear, he can be off. So if you're going out with a dog, make sure you know what you're doing and what species require your dog to be on leash. But anyways, I don't want him to chase any wildlife. And as a hunting dog, pointer, obviously they have a prey drive, and he's got a pretty good one. And had a few incidences where he went after deer. And luckily I was able to whistle and snap him out of it really quick. But it's amazing how their brain just shuts off and they see something and it's prey and they're going after it. So I bought this collar because I don't want him chasing anything that he shouldn't be chasing. And it's worked really well, man. So the other part of it too is when we're out trail running, he'll be right behind me and I look back and he's gone. Not a big deal because he is, a scent hound. He always finds me and catches up eventually. So I don't really worry about him, but I don't want him getting too far so I can hit the beep or the vibrate. And he comes back super quick. So anyways, anyone who's got a scent hound or any kind of hunting dog that, has a hard time focusing because they're so into tracking scents and stuff like that, this has been a really great tool for him and I recommend it. It's $69.99 on Amazon. Check it out if you got a dog. Great training tool for sure. And I know Garrett's got a bunch of radio collars for his dog, so that's something we can touch on too. I'm curious what kind of training he did. I'm kind of just winging it with this thing, but it's been working out really well. So yeah, anyway, that's kind of the update on bear hunting and some of the gear I've been using. You guys heard me mention the Zoleo satellite communicator that I've been using. That thing's been awesome. I use it all the time. You go out in the bush and you want to be disconnected, but it's peace of mind. My girlfriend doesn't hear from me for a while. She'll just say, "Hey, you still alive?" I can send her the location. She can check it out on the map and see where I am, which is kind of cool. So it's good, man. Peace of mind. I did get a flat tire at the beginning of the year. Luckily, I got back into town, and it wasn't until the next day that I noticed the tire was flat. It kind of deflated overnight, but it just sort of made me think, yeah, if something like that happens out there and I need to change a tire and I'm going to be home later, it's just nice to be able to send a message, say, "Hey, got a flat tire." Not to worry, but I am going to be later than what I thought. So it's good peace of mind for you and for anyone in your family, and just so they know where you are and that you're safe. And then if anything happens, you have the tools you need for help or just to stay connected. So that thing's been awesome. Hopefully some of you guys caught the sale. I'm thinking they'll probably do another one in the fall. They did that last year. I think it was in September. if that deal comes up again, I will definitely let you know. But yeah, it's been rock solid. They're much cheaper than the InReaches and stuff, and you can find these just about anywhere. If you go to Mountain Equipment Co-op or any of those types of stores, they have them. You can order them online. But check it out. If you don't have one, if you're new to hunting, I definitely recommend doing it. I held off for so long because Garrett and Kelly had them, and I just didn't want people bugging me when I was out in the bush. But I'm certainly glad I have it now. One thing I wanted to follow up on was I did an episode on the Sydney Island deer call a while back now. I have some contacts for some folks that live on the island, and I talked to a friend of mine who lives there, and she gave me 2 contacts to get in touch with. I haven't done that, but it's something I want to do. But this story is developing, so I am kind of glad that I've waited this long. But I came across a news article recently. So if you remember, the original cost for this call, it was a multi-year thing, was set to be around 6 million. I think it was 5 point something or whatever it might have been. I'll have to go back and listen to that episode to get all the details. But Parks Canada has now said that they're going to be spending 12 million on this project, which is insane, man. The contact that I had there, this friend of mine that I spoke with, and some of the stuff I read too, was just saying that hunters were doing a better job of managing these species, and the general consensus was that they just wanted to continue doing it that way, and it doesn't cost anything for resident hunters to come there and do that, especially people who live on the island. So it's pretty insane. So I'm gonna dig into this one a little bit more at some point here. Reach out to those 2 people that I have contact for, and look into this one some more, because that's crazy, man, to go from 6 million to 12 million. And that first kick of the bucket there I think it was in November, wasn't really that successful. And they also shot some native blacktail species. They're doing it from helicopters. So yeah, it's a bit of a silly thing they're doing there, man. And it's super expensive. So I'll do a follow-up on that one for sure, and keep watching what's going on there. Good news. So LEH limited entry hunting draws were announced earlier this week. And this was going to be the thing that kind of determined what we were doing in the fall for Garrett and Kelly and myself. We applied for some exciting ones. Unfortunately, we were all unsuccessful. But I did apply for a muley doe in the region here, and I was successful on that one. So that's kind of cool, man. That's knock on wood, that's almost a guarantee. There's a ton of them around here, especially in the region that I applied for. Yeah, it just makes you feel like, okay, I'm going to have at least a little bit of meat in the freezer this year. Not enough to share between 3 guys. But yeah, I'm excited for that. And now it's just coming up with a plan to do some other hunts. Could be elk, could be alpine mule deer or something like that. But now we got to figure it out. If any of you guys have some stuff you're excited about, let us know. I'd love to hear what some of you have planned, especially if it's your first big hunt. Let's hear about it. Again, our email address is info@theRookieHunter.com. Last thing I wanted to do was just plug a couple of things that I've been working on. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I'm working with Outdoor Life, and I've been editing and doing the mixing on their podcast, which is the Outdoor Life podcast. They have a lot of really good information on those episodes, and they kind of run in tandem with written articles. So check those out. There's lots of really good tips in there, gear stuff. Natalie did an episode on duck hunting in Australia, and that one was pretty interesting. There's all of these activists that are trying to stop duck hunting, and they're getting in the way of hunters, and pretty fascinating. And the point of that one was sort of to highlight how things could change around here and how we can get ahead of that, so that people aren't out there ruining our hunts and this thing that we love and enjoy so much. So go check out Outdoor Life Podcast. We're doing a second podcast for them with Joe Cermele. So Joe Cermele is the host of Cut and Retie. He was with Meat Eater for many years doing the Bent podcast. And he's done all kinds of stuff. He writes for Field and Stream and obviously Outdoor Life. And yeah, he's got a long history in the fishing world. And he's now going to be doing a podcast called Quick Strike for Outdoor Life. And that one's going to be going live this coming Tuesday, I believe. So check that out. If any of you fish heads out there are interested, just lots of, tips and tricks and stuff like that. So go check that one out. I'm excited to be working with Outdoor Life and doing a second show with Joe. I'll link those up in the show notes so you can subscribe to them and follow along. But lots of good information. And I think a lot of you gear nerds on the hunting side of things and new hunters would find a lot of value in the episodes that they're putting out. So check them out. Oh, one last thing here. For anybody who's getting ready for the fall season, someone sent in a question just saying, hey, what is your routine for training? And we touched on this a little bit. I don't do anything insane. I'm not a gym person. I've got one here in my building that I can use. It's a beautiful gym, but I just don't like it. So my thing is trail running. I've been doing a ton of it lately. The trail that I used to run on, I've brought it up a few times because it was like losing a friend, was hit by the fires that came through here last year, and the park's been shut down. Fortunately, half of it has been opened, and I can get to it. I can get in there now. And the thing I love about these trails in particular is that nobody really uses them. And it's like a hidden gem in the city here. You feel like you're out in the middle of nowhere. And because it's a park, it's quite a large parcel of land. Dog can be off leash, and there's dozens and dozens of trails. You could plan out multiple different routes, and it's close to home. It doesn't take me long to get there. And I've been going back out there since they reopened some of it. And I'm doing anything from 5 to 10 kilometer runs every single day, at least 5 days a week anyways. That's kind of my cardio side of things. And otherwise I just do like body weight exercises and stuff like that at home. So that with hiking, backpacking, I feel like it's a good way for me to get in shape. But trail running is the thing that I love, and it's translated well for me going to the hunting season. You're just used to those long grinds, and if you're running lots of hills and stuff like that, it certainly translates into something useful for hunting season. So I don't have much of a routine or anything like that, but that's what I've been doing, and it seems to be making me feel good mentally. That's a huge part of it. And physically, I feel like I'm getting back into shape again. Getting a little doughy there for a while. So, yeah, curious what you guys are doing, but I'm going to wrap this episode up. I'm going to bring the recorder with us today on our final bear hunt, see if we can capture some magic. Either way, spring bear season has been awesome. I'm going to name off what I've seen. Many moose, as I said. Like, I can't even count how many. I've seen bulls, I've seen cows, I've seen calves, I've seen mule deer, I've seen whitetail, black bear, lynx, grouse, snowshoe hare. What else have I seen? Lots of stuff, man. So that's been amazing. That's what's going to be my takeaway. If we don't get a bear this year, I had a great time. I did some hiking, did some backpacking, did some camping, and that's all that really matters. So again, bringing the recorder. Hopefully we capture something. A successful hunt would be ideal, but we'll see what happens. So I will follow up with you guys next week since I am cured of the COVID and get back to more of a regular schedule. So appreciate you guys hanging on there and and wait for this one. But hope you guys have been having a great spring season. And yeah, appreciate you hanging out. Cheers, guys. There you go. Episode 160. Not much else to add, but time to get back and time to get my shit ready for the bear hunt. The cooler ready. Got the dog ready. Get some food ready. And wish me luck. Another quick reminder to get your name in the hat for that hunt, the caribou hunt in the Northwest Territories with the Wild Sheep Foundation. $60 US gets your name in the hat. It also gets you a membership to the Wild Sheep Foundation for 1 year. So that's a pretty wicked deal. Check the link in the show notes or go over to wildsheepfoundation.org. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.